Hi and welcome. If you're here watching this video, you have likely and unfortunately found yourself with a pet suffering from IVDD, or you think they may be showing symptoms. Either way, it's a terrible position to be in. Roughly 4 weeks ago, my beloved 4-year-old French Bulldog Zeus was going about his day in a normal fashion, playing, being silly, and really not exhibiting any warning signs of having pain or difficulty walking. Later that same evening, I put his dinner down for him on a lick mat, which was something I would do from time to time to slow down feeding. And after just a few minutes, he urgently came into the living room where my husband and I were sitting, and he started showing signs of distress and discomfort. I couldn't tell at first what was happening to him. He threw himself on his back. He seemed like he wanted a frantic belly rub. But when I started rubbing him down and trying to feel where the issue might be, I noticed he was showing discomfort in his right hind leg. At this time, I wasn't too worried because he was still walking normally. And with a rub down and extra attention, I was able to get him to calm down. I had always known of IVDD as a Frenchie owner, but I thought of it more as a back problem and did not know the severity of it. I'll be making another video, which I'll link here, of things I would have done differently in the first 48 hours of my dog showing IVDD symptoms. But I did look into it and followed advice off the internet to put him in his crate for the remainder of the night. Now, all this happened around 8 p.m. the night before Thanksgiving. And once I initially was able to calm him down, it didn't seem like a trip to the emergency vet was necessary. I was just trying to get him into the vet first thing Friday morning once they opened back up. Fast forward to Thanksgiving Day, he was crated for most of the day, but I did let him out for a bit because, again, at this point, he was walking normally, eating and drinking, going to the bathroom, and it didn't seem necessary to keep him locked away. He's a social dog who loves my family and our other dog, and as his owner, I felt guilty keeping him locked away from everyone. This ultimately was a big mistake that I later regretted. He seemed to be okay until the end of the night. He was sitting on the couch, and even though I'm not allowing him to go up or down the stairs or jump off of furniture, all it took was 1 second. He jumped down, and then he heard someone coming in the house, and then he let out a huge scream. I immediately crated him after this, and we traveled back to our house that night, not too long after, so that we could get him back in his normal environment and comfortable. When we got home, I let him out before bed, go to the bathroom, and he squats to pee. So when he did that, his pelvis sunk to the ground, and after that, he refused to move. I carried him back in the house, put him in his crate, and let him rest. This was around 10 or 11 p.m. I went to bed, and at 2 a.m., I hear him screaming, a sound I had never heard from him before. When I ran over to his crate, he was panting frantically. His tongue was so far out of his mouth. At this point, I immediately started calling emergency vets. We live in a remote area, so the closest one was about 40 minutes away. I waited about 30 minutes before driving over, and his status did not change at all. He was panting aggressively, and at this point, I was extremely scared for him. When we got to the emergency vet, there wasn't anyone there, and they took him from us to evaluate him immediately. About 15-20 minutes later, the vet who was on duty came out to us with somber news. He told us Zeus was paralyzed in his hind legs and in severe pain, and that he had already given him a dose of fentanyl to calm him down. He let us know that it was IVDD, and from his assessment that he had already lost deep pain sensation in his hind legs and would require surgery, which even despite getting surgery, there was no guarantee he would walk again because myomyelatia was starting to kick in. Myomyelatia is a severe and often fatal condition associated with intervertebral disc disease. It involves the softening or necrosis, which is death of the spinal cord tissue, which typically results from a spinal cord injury or severe compression. This occurs when the damage to the spinal cord leads to lack of blood flow, inflammation, and eventual tissue breakdown. So when he told us this, we literally broke down and lost it, or at least I did. He was strongly advising us to either rush him to another emergency vet specialist, and which was an hour and a half away for surgery, and that would roughly cost $12,000 to $15,000, or to quote unquote do the right thing and put him down. My husband and I were in utter shock and disbelief. not only were we shocked about his diagnosis for the dog, but also the financial burden of the situation. And on top of that, this vet wants us to make this decision in just a few minutes. So we chose to take the dog out of there and wait for our vet to open in the morning for a second opinion. They sent us out with pain meds for Zeus, and we pretty much spent from until 4 in the morning till 8 when our vet opened, saying our goodbyes to our dog. 8 a.m. comes and we rush into the vet, where she tells us that the myelomyelitis diagnosis can't be determined without an MRI and that our dog can most likely live a full and happy life if we rush into the emergency vet specialist, which put us at ease. That's kind of what we wanted to hear. So we did exactly that. We got in the car and drove directly to Guardian Veterinary Specialist in Brewster, New York. If you live in the tri-state area, I cannot recommend this place enough. They are top tier vet professionals who made us feel at ease from the second we walked in the door, and they took exceptional care of our dog. So we get there, they take Zeus in and they assess him and determine he does in fact have deep pain sensation in his hind legs. So we decide to move forward with an MRI, and at this point we still don't know if our dog is ever going to walk again. So my husband and I are in the waiting room weighing our options of what decision we'll make dependent on the MRI results. I mean, you have a lot to take into consideration. The MRI cost alone is $6,000, and with the surgery, you're looking at a total of anywhere between $12,000 to $15,000, with the chance also that your dog may never walk again. So that really is a lot to consider. During this time, they had different people from their medical team and billing come and talk to you, go through the options, financing options, and whatnot, as to help figure out what the best way to move forward with your circumstances is. So we applied for care credit and received just under $10,000 worth of coverage, which gave us peace of mind no matter which way we decided to move forward. After we got all of the paperwork in order and we left, it was about 3 hours later, the neurologist, Dr. Berg, called us with his MRI results. Zeus had ruptured a disc in his back. They said he was a good candidate for surgery and gave him a 95% chance of walking again. So we decided to move forward with the surgery. He was held at the vet for 3 nights overall and had the surgery that same day that we arrived. They texted us and called us before, during, and after surgery, and every day, once a day, with updates. Their communication was honestly top tier, and I really appreciated the care that they provided for him. On day 3, we picked up our little guy. He was still unable to walk and needed us to express his bladder for him, something we are currently still doing in week 4, going on 5 of this recovery. But more on that in my next video, where I'll be discussing Zeus's recovery journey, weeks 1 through 4. I just wanted to share our experience from our first 48 hours because there really isn't a ton of other people's lived experiences with this on the internet. So please like and subscribe if you found this helpful. Wishing the best to you and your pup. Bye for now.